Hey there, my name's Jaffe. I'm a nobody who wants to make a hobby out of content creation, and I think it would be pretty fun to record my forever world and the builds and farms and stuff I make throughout, and make little compilations of it throughout the time. I figured the most realistic way to make content but still do everything else that I have going on with my life is to get videos and put them together in week increments of playtime, or increments that are close enough to 7 days worth of playtime that seem to make the most sense. In day one, I was able to find a really well-placed village that had a mine shaft with a double spider spawner underneath it and a swamp all around it for farms. Here I built an easy 3-type wood farm, and I followed it up with a pretty simple automatic wheat farm. Day 2 was pretty full of exploration and a little bit of farm building, as I figured out the land around the village to figure out some biomes, some resource collection areas, and also found out that there was in fact a double spider spawner, and spent the majority of that day crafting together a farm for the double spider spawner, because most of the tutorials or farms I saw for a double spider spawner had to do with specific orientations of the spawners, and none of them seemed to match the specific orientation of the two that I had found. Day 3, in large part, was just full of AFK sessions to start getting levels to upgrade my armor, my tools, and my weapons, so that I could work with that while I'm dealing with all of the mobs in this large, now very open area. Both days 4 and 5 was when I really started to put in some work to build the farms I needed for my first large build I had in mind, and that was when I built the wood farm I showed, and also a clay farm, because the build I needed required a lot of bricks, and I figured I needed both a wheat farm and a clay farm to make that work. I'm still pretty new to using replay mod, so I wasn't able to get that figured out because I went back and forth between the nether a lot, and apparently replay mod doesn't like that, so the more you learn, I guess. Both day 6 and day 7 I spent in large part working on clearing out any large mountains or mounds in the swamp biome around me, because it's basically in a very large island formation, and I wanted it to be extremely clear and extremely flat without any large bumps or large puddles of water, so that I could work to make a bunch of farms and make them very, very easily accessible while I'm building them, and even after I'm done building them, so I can just make it easier in general. The goal of the first week in this world, this forever world, which is also a server so other people are on it, is to mainly get the materials, the small farms that I need for my first build, and to start preparing the biome, the land around me, so that it's going to be much easier to build other farms in the future. Because I don't want to progress too fast or be very, very speedrunner-like in this world, and I want to build my farms and progress my gameplay only as necessary for the large builds I'm going to be making. As you can see here, I start to clear out the land for the swamp and eventually start filling in all of the water, which was a little bit of a pain, but it was pretty fun actually. It was pretty calming. I got to watch a lot of shows. But for my progression, I really only want to make the farms and do the work that I need to for each of my builds. And then obviously as I make more and more builds, I will have more and more farms, and eventually I'll have a farm for pretty much everything. The chunks in this replay mod session were a little weird. I think it's probably just because I'm on a multiplayer server while I'm playing, and since I'm not on a single player server, the chunks for optimization are not always loaded, so whenever I move a little bit away, but the replay mod stays close enough to it, just looks a little wonky. Obviously, for large or very tall builds, it would be pretty smart for me to get an elytra and maybe a gunpowder farm just for ease of access to the top of the build whenever I need to get back to it. But I think I will probably wait to make those. I will definitely get an elytra, but I think I'll wait to make a full-fledged gunpowder farm, because when I do make farms, I want to make mega farms so that it can serve to suffice both myself and other people on the server for any given resource, because I want to be helpful to not only myself, but to other people on the server, because I do spend a little bit more time than a lot of people on the server do actually playing, and so I want to use that time to both help myself to make this little hobby of content, and to also help them have a good time playing so they don't always need to grind the nitty-gritty bits of the detail, so they can just enjoy playing the server with friends. These first few farms I'm making, and obviously the elytra I will be getting, will eventually be towards a larger villager trading hall that'll probably make the center piece of the swamp island that I'm kind of working on right now. It's a pretty large build, but the main bulk materials I need are spruce, birch, oak, clay, stone, cobble, andesite, those types of block palette materials. So I will probably still need to make a cobble farm before I actually start on the build, and obviously get an elytra. But that will probably be a project or a jobs multiple for week 2. I don't have an exorbitant amount of time to play just because of responsibilities I have and things I need to do besides my hobby of content creation and playing Minecraft, which kind of go together. But I am going to be playing as much as I can because it is very, very relaxing for me, as I know it is for many people. I also think it's very relaxing and also teaching to be able to record these voiceovers and videos, because I personally have a very hard time talking to people in much of any setting. Even if I know them very well, I'll still trip up over my words and forget what to say at times. So being able to talk like this in a very controlled setting is more of a first step of many steps to just being able to be more comfortable in knowing what to say, when to say it, and being confident in talking to people regardless of the setting. Especially because of the very small size of my channel and my accounts at the moment, it's kind of like talking to myself in the mirror, which is somewhat comforting to think about because little to no one will see these videos, and it's just very nice to be able to practice in one way, shape, or form to be able to do better in the real world when I have to go out and actually face people. I think moving forward with this type of content and this account and this kind of playstyle, I'm going to really enjoy making content and making videos regardless of what happens, because I've always wanted to make content, if not just for myself or being able to make it, and this fulfills my wishes in that aspect while just being able to do it in a very, very chill and relaxed way. But as the first week is done, the second week starts, and I will be starting to work on most likely the cobble farm, and we'll see where it goes from there. I also do stream on Twitch under the username Joffe is here, with the same spelling as the first name at the beginning of the video. So if you do enjoy this kind of content and just playing on a forever world, feel free to stop by and hang out for a little bit. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.